Hello. Today we farewell our old friend, a fair go. I think you have to say a top bloke, a true mate, and sadly in Australia, in Tony Abbott's Australia, a fallen comrade. I have to say that, I'm really going to miss him. There would be few Australians who hadn't at some time been, a little touched by the goodwill of fair go. A few hadn't benefited in some way from his deeply egalitarian values and his belief in providing a level playing field for all. The championing of the underdog, while at the same time diminishing the privileges of the elite, so that we as Australians could stand toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, and head to head, even if we didn't have a toe, a shoulder, or a head. A fair go underpinned our sense, of being Australian. It defined who we were in the world, a nation built on the back of suffering and loss of the Indigenous peoples, of convicts and of migrants, all of whom pulled themselves up from their bootstraps, even when they didn't have shoes. A fair go was a visionary. In fact, a fair go believed that Australians should be provided with a healthcare system not impeded by financial circumstance, a healthcare system provided top-notch care and medical treatment from everyone from James Packer to a Woolworths shelf packer. A fair go believed that good medical treatment was not a privilege, not a place for profiteering or commerce, but a social necessity. Free healthcare, according to a fair go, was our birthright. A fair go believed the Australian worker had a right to fair pay for a fair day's work. Their workers should not be at the mercy of their employers to set contracts or standards under which they worked. A fair go insisted that workers be paid award wages, work reasonable hours, be given sick pay, holiday pay, leave loadings. Excuse me, it's a bit much. A fair go rallied hard against the destruction of our unionised workforce and the introduction of the chickenpox blanket of things like employment initiatives like enterprise bargaining. A fair go knew that many Australians were not in a position to negotiate their own conditions. A fair go knew that when it came to choosing people over profits, that our workers' safety and well-being would be compromised. A fair go believed all Australian children had the right to free education, that even the poorest and most underprivileged child should have the right to access a university education free of the impediment of debt. In fact, I must personally thank a fair go, raised by a single parent in the 1970s, were it not for fair go's belief in supporting single parent families and using our country's common wealth to provide welfare to the underprivileged. I dread to think of where my family would have ended up. A fair go was also responsible for sending me to university, for paying my rent, my books and my food. A fair go also provided contraceptive and sexual advice at family planning clinics. Thanks to fair go, I was actually able to leave university and embark on a successful, fully government-funded career as one of the long-term unemployed. It was during this period of government support for the idle time that I first started to pursue my creative bent, laying the foundations for what was to become my career path as a comedian, artist and writer. A fair go allowed me to become a confused, lazy, adolescent and aberrant 20-something so that I could grow into a fully rounded, pain-in-the-ass, money-earning taxpayer, happy to give back so that a fair go could get other people back on their feet. In fact, if it meant that we had free education, free healthcare and dental care, welfare and initiative, and innovative and support services for the elderly, the young, the disabled and the disadvantaged, then I would be happy to pay 70% of my tax to breathe a little bit more life into my friend, a fair go. Because that's the kind of country I believe that most of us want to live in. I don't want my privilege to be built on the suffering and discomfort of my fellow Australians. So it's great sadness that we say goodbye to our good friend, a fair go, a true Australian, a good Australian, bludgeoned in his sleep, cruelly with the blunt end of a heartless budget. Goodbye, a fair go. I will miss you.